and record for the people who I know who are not able to join us today. Okay, numbers, we're going to kind of, cap that off. And it's something that we always need to come back to and always need to practice a little bit, but we'll do maybe 15 minutes with that today. We'll work with ser and estar, making sure that we know how to use those two verbs. And again, that takes a lot of practice, but we'll get better with it. La casa, we'll do some practice. We're going to do some photo practice. The one thing I do want you to do, and you may have needed to write this down, which would be totally normal. I do want you to give a little description of your house. La casa, like, how many rooms you've got, that kind of thing. And I'll open with mine. And if you feel brave enough to do that for the group, that would be great. And, you may combine different verbs like say, tengo, I have, and then name out how many rooms, or you may phrase it as, en mi casa hay, in my house there are, or mi casa tiene, my house has, and I'll demonstrate how to do that a little bit later. But if you have that written down, you may want to go hunt that paper down. Okay. Vamos a empezar con los números. We're going to take a look at these higher numbers, which are kind of pesky, aren't they? They are kind of pesky. But remember, one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that for you as a traveler, as a learner, numbers are something that are a survival skill, but your immediate survival, like top of the list survival need, is to hear a number and understand it, which is why we'll do dictado, because people will always give you addresses you need to find, or give you prices, or tell you that, oh, you're on this bus line, and you've got to be able to interpret those numbers quickly. So understanding them when they are said is the big deal. And you can see our chart, right? See? Bien?
Sí.
Vale, magnífico. I'm going to pronounce just the top numbers because we're going to start to blend all these different. We're going to stay more in the hundreds. We'll do a couple thousand issues, but not a whole ton of things in the thousands. Do know that it would not be unusual if you were to go to Mexico to have to be talking about some things that may cost into the thousands, because it's about 20 pesos roughly to $1. So, you get into the thousands pretty quickly. If you were buying some kind of artwork that you really liked, it could get up there. Okay. I'm just going to model the hundreds numbers. Remember that middle column with the feminine, the hundreds do technically have feminine forms, but that's not a big thing for you to get all like wound up over, because, if I said 200 women were at a meeting, okay, 200 mujeres. Yeah, I would need that. But, if you said 200 mujeres, would they understand you? Yes. So, I would say don't worry about using feminine forms with those hundreds numbers, because it won't really affect you that much. You're usually going to be talking about monetary issues, which is going to stay in the masculine realm. So I'm just going to pronounce each number. 200, 300, 400. Here comes the oddball, which is why it's highlighted. 500, 600, 700, 800. 900. And you'll notice when you get to the 6, 7, 8, 900, a lot of those get to sound like the 60, 70, 80. They're pretty close, within a couple of letters. Because they all work off of those. Once you got the 1 through 10 down, they start to morph in little ways into the double-digit numbers, the triple-digit numbers. So we're going to take a look at not all of these, but some of these numbers. Por ejemplo, ¿cómo se dice 245? ¿Cómo se pronuncia 245? Alguien sabe? Somebody want to take a shot at it? Take yourself off of mute if you want to do it, and just pipe on in. Marcos, vamos.
245.
Magnífico. Gracias. Sí. Vale. Fantástico. 412. Alguien, somebody want to give that a go?
I will. 412.
412. Perfecto. Perfect. And notice there's no need for an E sound. 412. Nobody will say that. 412. So you said that exactly right. They gave us they gave us one that does have an E because we've got a number higher than 0 in that last segment there. 632. How about 791?
I will.
Maidan.
791.
Perfecto. Muy bien. Excelente. I am going to shift over to the second column. 330. Alguien. Somebody give that a shot.
Okay, I will. 330.
330. 590. This is the one that's the bugaboo. This is the one that is hard because it breaks the rule, breaks the sequence.
I'll do it.
Bien, gracias.
590.
Excelente. 590. Fantástico. Then we got, and ignore the feminine form of it, 840. How about 923? 923.
Okay, I will. 923.
900.
Sorry, 900.
No.
Yeah.
Está bien.
923.
923. Okay, vale. And we're going to show you just a little bit of what happens with the thousands. 1,000 is just mil. And they don't say un mil,
No.
just
Okay.
mil. Okay.
Mil.
Mil. Okay, so mil is 1,000. So 1,900 you see is 1,900. If I look below that, 2,000, I just put a in front of mil. 2,000. Okay. 2,000. 200. 2,200. I'm going to look at over at 1,500 or 1,500. Which they don't say it as 1,500. They say it as 1,500. 1,500. 1,500. See? Vale? Okay. We'll tell you something interesting about the thousands later. Un poquito más tarde. Okay. A ver. Let's take a look at some different kinds of prices. We're going to look at some higher prices and see if you can figure out. Oh, every man's dream, my husband's favorite place to look in any store. Cannot drag him into a store, but this kind of store, yeah, big thumbs up. Okay. A ver, let's start with some lower prices here. Bueno, sí. Tomás, Tom, you want to give it a go on the, ¿cómo se dice? 149?
Sí, 149.
Excelente, 149, sí. How about 269? A ver, Jenny. Oh, and you're on mute. Perdón. Oh, we need to. And I'm going to see if I can. I don't think I can take you off of mute. I think that's something you need to. And it's, we still can't hear you. I'll come back to you, Jenny, okay? I'll come back to you. Shelley, ¿quieres?
200,
Okay, let's back up a little bit. We're going to combine dos with cientos.
200.
200, and now we want our 60.
69.
Excelente. 269. 269. Okay. A ver. 349. Loretta, do you want to take yourself off of mute and give that one a go? 349.
349.
Instead of cuatro, we're going to use 40.
Okay.
49. 49. And don't feel self-conscious about that, because you know your brain is seeing these as single numbers, so you're going to the single digit thing, but we want 349. 49. Okay. A ver, 199. Renee, you want to give that one a go? Por favor.
Ciento.
199.
199. Excelente. 199. Let's tackle some great big ones up here. ¿Cómo se dice 778? 778. Un voluntario. Volunteer for that one, because that's a big, scary number. Oh, and Jenny, you're off of mute. Yay.
I'm off mute. I
Yay.
am. 700.
You're
No.
very, very close. 700.
700. Not lost.
And we're going to come back to set again. 70.
700. 778.
Y 8. Bien, sí. 778. 778. Bien, bien, bien. Bueno, a ver. Tom, you want to give me the 840 or 898? 898. 898.
898.
Excelente, excelente. See, and notice in English, do a lot of people say 898? Yeah, some people sometimes do, but 898, we have to say it as that. Excelente, muy bien, muy bien. Otras cosas aquí. Perdón. Ok. Bien, bien, bien. Ok. Vamos a ver estos números aquí. We're going to take a look at this trio of numbers here. See? ¿Cómo se dice 399? 399. Alguien, un voluntario,
Sure.
volunteer.
I will. Can you hear?
Sí,
Can you
sí.
hear me?
Sí.
Oh, I wanted to volunteer.
Ok.
300. 9.
90.
90.
90.
Oh,
Y we need our 9.
y 9.
9. 9. And
9.
that 9 is the one that, 9 is 9, but notice that NUE changes to an NO when we do the 90, the double digit. So 9 moves to 90, and then it keeps that nov with the 900, 900, right? But 399, muy bien. 499. Alguien, somebody.
499.
Excelente, muy bien. This is the big bad one that nobody likes. 599. This is the one that breaks the bad pattern. It is not cinco at all. It is not cinco.
I'll try that.
500.
599.
Sí, 599. 599. Bien. Vale. Okay, I'm going to show you one little last interesting fact. This is, I think, not as survival oriented. Uy, momentito. Got to move my thing here. A ver. Not survival, but like, let's say you take a tour. You take a tour and they are telling you about like the date a church was built or the date a fort was built. You go to Puerto Rico and they talk to you about when El Morro was constructed and blah, blah, blah. And they're doing, okay. And let's say they give you a year. Years are going to be a little bit different. If you have a year like 1978, I'm just picking a date, 1978. We often in English say it as 19 and 78. We can't do that in Spanish. They're going to have to say all years will wind up sounding like that. It'll be the 1000. Oh, it's a lot of work. Okay, so years wind up, para que sepan, so you know. So it'll be 1978. A year like 1492 will wind up being 1492. If somebody asks you your date of birth, for people in my kids' age range, they have to say things like 1997. So just so you know, for years, like say if you were in customs and they wanted to know your year of birth or something, I don't know, or in a bank and they needed to confirm your identity with a year of birth or something. That's how it goes. Now, everybody likes the 2000s because 2010 is 2000. Yes. Wow.
Yes.
How short. 2010. 2010. 2010. See? 2008. See? 2022. El año es 2022. So the 2000s are easy. But the other ones, you have to think of it as really more math-like, okay, as a full 1000 number. That is one thing they do differently with saying years. Para que sepas, so that just so that you know that. Okay. We're going to do a little quick dictado. So I'm not going to share with you until we are done with saying all of our numbers, but I am going to give you some numbers that are they're not going to be like impossibly ridiculous, difficult numbers. They're going to be in the hundreds though. So your job is just going to be to have any old scrap of paper that is just garbage that you don't care about. You're just going to write down the digits as I say it. See if you can understand the numbers. Los números. Okay. And we're going to do 10 of them. Ay, a ver. Okay. Ooh. I'm looking for a dictado. Aquí. And I'm going to keep it mostly in some easy ranges. Okay. Just to make it simple. Okay. And I will say them, of course, more than once, so that you can hear it more than once. Okay, número uno. 192. 192. 192. Número 2. 134. 134. 134. Número 3. 861. 861. 861. ¿Vale? Número 4. 785. 785. 785. Número 5. 948. 948. 948. Número 6. 227. 227. 227. Número 7. 373. 373. 373. Número 8. 415. 415. 415. Número 9. 505. 505. 505. Bien. Y el último, last one, número 10. Número 10, el último. 656. 656. 656.
Do you repeat number
Okay.
9?
Can you
Número
repeat
9.
that?
Número 9. 505. 505.
And the number 10?
Número 10.
Okay.
656. 656. Okay. We're going to show you what the answers are. Yeah, our objective is to try to get as close to, momentito, hang on. I don't think you can see that. I need to move my Zoom screen. Ahora pueden ver. Now you can see it. ¿Sí? Sí. A ver. Bueno.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little opening dictado next week, just as a quick review. Really super. Yeah. Your objective is to get at least 7 of those right, or at least, get the hundreds part of it. 70%. It takes practice.
Mhm.
9.
Okay. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vale.
56.
Okay.
56.
873. Oh, I got that right.
656.
Bien. Okay. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any question about anything related to numbers? We're gonna-
Is it impolite to ask escribo, por favor?
Oh, it's
Write
not.
it.
Oh, to write it.
Yeah.
No, it's not at all impolite. There are a lot of things you might do to
Okay.
ask people to, I'm going to write this in the chat box now. And here is the first thing. Repita, por favor. Repita, por favor.
Yeah, por
Yeah.
favor.
Repita, por favor. Please repeat is always a good thing. If you want to tell somebody to write it down, escribe, por
Escribe.
favor. Escribe or escriba. Really, I should make that a formal. Escriba, por favor. There's a formal way to say, please write it. Escriba, por favor. Escriba, por favor. Escriba el
Escriba.
precio. One thing you should be familiar with, especially if you go down to Mexico, they have a very, very, well, not unique because a lot of places do this, but Mexico and many places in South America as well, do el regateo. El regateo is a fancy word. Well, it sounds fancy. What it means is bargaining. Do not be surprised. It is very customary not, unless you're in a place like a supermarket. Yeah. But if you're in a mom and pop kind of store, or if you're in an open air market in particular, it is rather expected to go through a bargaining process. Okay. You don't do this at a high-end department store. You don't do el regateo at a grocery store. You don't bargain with them over food prices. It is what it is. Yeah. But, you know, if you're going into an open air market, which a lot of places will have with prices, it's very common to bargain back and forth and to ask for a lower price. It is not considered impolite. It is, in fact,
Expected.
considered, yeah, it is expected. It is an expected part of the purchasing process. So just so you know, if you accept the first price and you're at an open air market, you may get like a wow reaction because they're like, serious, wow, first price, I hit the jackpot. I'll be happy about that. Okay.
Question,
See,
is the word meal ever pluralized with an S?
it can be made plural in certain situations, but very limited. So here's how that may happen. If you want to say thousands of people, there were thousands of people at the fair. Thousands. Not 5,000, not 10,000, thousands. Había miles de personas. Yeah, there were thousands of people, but very infrequently will mil go into a plural, miles form. Okay. And not for individual specific numbers. Okay. As we might say, thousands of people flocked to the car show. You know, they will use that as well. But when you're saying 3,000, it'll be 3,000. Boom, that's it. And just mil. Okay, so unlike ciento, which becomes cientos with an S at the end, mil generally will not, certainly not for specific numbers. See? Buena pregunta, good question. Okay, ¿algo más o no? No? Okay.
Gracias.
Okay, we're going to work in these 3 different verbs that we may be using today and take a little closer look at them. All verbs in Spanish get conjugations, and we're going to look at ser and estar and tener and see again in practice how they are used. Ser, to be, for to identify, to label something and tell what it is really like. Any kind of description that describes the core of what makes that thing or that person what it or what he or she is. We use ser. Estar, which also means to be, but we use estar to talk about location, where something is located, and we use estar to talk about changeable descriptions, things that are easily changed, like the temperature of your cup of coffee, okay? Or somebody's feelings, okay? So estar is used for location, to say to be, am is are. Estar is also used for feelings, how you feel and where you are, yeah. Feelings meaning your health, feelings meaning your emotional state, because those are easily changeable conditions that may easily flip to a different situation. And then we're also going to look at tener a little bit. Tener does double duty in the Spanish language. Tener literally does mean have. So you will be talking in a little while about maybe what your house has, how many rooms your house has, or you may be saying, I have X number of this room in my house. And tener is also sometimes used as am, is, are, with those special phrases like tener hambre, to be hungry, tener sed, to be thirsty, tener calor, to be hot, tener frío, to be cold, okay? But we're going to look at all these conjugations quickly and look at lots of descriptions of them. And you read some descriptions, but we're going to take a look at just seeing that we know what forms all these verbs go into as well. So the forms of ser, soy, eres, es, somos, son. We skip the sois because Latin America doesn't use sois, even though Spain does. And ser is used for, you know, we could memorize a lot of the rules. Okay, these are the rules for most of the situations where we use ser. It gives you descriptions of what people really are like. We use it to talk about occupation. We use it to talk about personality traits, the way somebody generally is most of the time, not how they feel, but what they're generally like. We use it for telling time and we'll be combining that with numbers at some point. We use it with origin to talk about where somebody is from, because again, that is stable. Where you're from is permanent. It does not change. And relationships to talk about who somebody is in a family setting, in a work setting, you know, look, I say what it may be. Ooh, let's see if we can plug the forms of ser. We're going to take these little puppies here and move them around. Ooh, if we have these human beings on the left-hand side as this is who we have to match up with a form of ser. Mi hijo, my son. Which form of ser up here will it take?
Es.
Es,
Mm.
right? Es talks about just a onesie human being, a single person. Yo, if I want to talk about I am, what's going to be the
Soy.
form of ser?
Soy.
Soy. Okay, vale, magnífico. Soy. Soy. And people will drop the yo most of the time because you can. Mi hijo y yo. Mi hijo y yo. Anybody y yo equates to nosotros.
Somos.
Somos. Exacto. Somos is what we use. Anytime I put yo in a group, anytime I arrange, talk about myself and other people with me, it becomes not just yo, but the nosotros, what we call the nosotros, the we form, somos. Ustedes, hey, you guys.
Son.
Son. It's got to be a plural because it's a plural you. Ustedes son. Alicia, if I talk about somebody named Alicia. Es.
Es.
Sí, exacto. Es. Ricardo y Laura.
Son.
Son,
Right.
because it's more than one human being. And tú,
Tú eres.
Tú eres.
eres, yeah. And most people will not bother to say tú when you see it in a drill, in a fill in the blank. It's there to give you context. But people will say just eres, right? Eres estadounidense. Are you a U.S. citizen? Eres estadounidense, right? Es usted estadounidense? Are you a U.S. citizen? Es usted, the formal you, right? Es usted, are you? Okay. Estar will, it will, like somos, get a mos at the end for the nosotros form. Like eres has an S at the end. The estás gets an S at the end for the tú form. Like son has an N at the end. The N at the end with estar will mean an ellos or an ustedes form. So the forms of estar are estoy, estoy, estás, and we got to punch the at the end. That's why you see an accent mark there. Estás, está, estamos, we are. Right? Estáis se used for vosotros, but you only, you don't have to worry about that because Latin America will not use it. And ellos están, or ellas están, or ustedes están. Okay. And again, these will be used to talk about location, where somebody is. Where you are located is not necessarily where you are from. Where you are from uses ser. Where you are located now is estar. Okay. And also we'll use these to talk about health and feelings, location, health, and feelings. Let's see if we can match up the right form of estar with these human beings on the left-hand side. We've got subjects of mi padre, tú, mis
Está.
amigos, mi madre y yo, ustedes and usted. Mi
Está.
padre
Está.
Está.
está. Mi padre está.
Está.
I could say mi padre está en la oficina. My dad's in the office. Mi padre está en el parque. My dad's at the park. Mi padre está contento. My dad is happy because that's how he feels. Okay. Tú
Estás.
estás. I need an S at the end. Tú verbs, except for one odd verb tense. Two verbs, with one exception, two verbs will get an S at the end. Mis amigos, my friends.
Estamos.
Están.
Oh, están.
Mis amigos están. Mis
Están.
amigos están. So now here's where some people sometimes get confused. They go, oh, estás. An S at the end of estás must mean plural. An S at the end of a verb, it does not mean plural. An N at the end of a verb makes it plural, right? An S at the end of a noun makes it plural, like taza, tazas, cups, more than one cup. But an S at the end of a verb is a different thing, right? That is a tú form. So an N at the end of a verb makes it plural. Mis amigos están. Mi madre y yo. Mi madre y yo.
Estamos.
Estamos.
Está.
Estamos. Estamos. Mi madre y yo estamos en casa. My mom and I are at home. Ustedes, you guys.
Están.
Está.
Están. That's got to have an N at the end because ustedes is a you plural. And usted está. Usted está. And remember, él and ella and usted will always share the same kind of verb. Ellos and ellas and ustedes will always share the same kind of verb. Okay. A ver. And we here estar in contexts that you use am, is, are with location and conditions that may easily change, like health and emotions in particular. Okay, bien. Perdón. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. How are you? We're asking for what you feel like, and what you feel like is a temporary changeable condition. Estoy bien. ¿Estás nervioso? No estoy nervioso. ¿Están ustedes en casa? That one is asking about location. ¿Están ustedes en casa? Are you at home? Right? En might mean in, it might mean at. Here it means at. En casa means at home, as opposed to en la casa, in the house. Your home term is en casa, skipping the word la, en casa. Bien? Okay. Let's look at some other examples of estar. Estar. Estoy en Arizona en febrero. I'm in AZ in February. Bien. Estamos en casa el lunes. We're at home on Monday. Okay. ¿Estás bien? No estoy bien. Estoy enfermo. I'm sick. Okay, that's a changeable state. Mis hijos están con sus amigos. Oh, my friends are my kids are with their friends. And with their friends, I know their friends are not a place, but we're still talking about location when we do that. You're with a person. That's still in a roundabout way talking about location. Okay. El jefe está en la oficina. The boss is in the office. El jefe está en la oficina. Bien. So these are examples that either talk about location or feelings, health, emotion. Okay, let's mix it up. let's see how both of these are used. If I talked about la doctora or la médica, you can say la doctora or médica. Ella es doctora. Ella es doctora or ella es médica. That talks about what she does. It identifies her. So it's ser. Ella es doctora o ella es médica. See? But if I want to talk about how she is, how she feels, la médica está contenta, she's happy. La médica está bien, she is well. Bien. I can use ser to talk about a patient. Ella es paciente. I'm labeling who she is in this relationship. She's not the doctor, she's the patient. Ella es paciente. She's a patient. See? La paciente está enferma. La paciente está enferma. The patient is sick. Enferma, sick. She's not well. That's a changeable condition. It's a health thing. Changeable. Okay. A ver. If I just talk about who these guys are, I know most of them are no longer with us, so I could put it in past, but we got a couple of them alive. Okay. Ellos son presidentes. They are presidents. I'm just labeling what they are. You could look at it as it was an occupation. Okay. Ellos están en los libros de historia. They're in the history books. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yo soy maestra. Estoy en Arizona. And when I'm talking about what I do,
I'm a teacher.
now I'm talking about where I am. Bien.
So now,
Mis estudiantes y yo somos amigos. We are friends. We're putting a label on a relationship. Yeah. Okay. It would sound very unnatural and weird to a Spanish speaker if you tried to flip this sentence and say, mis estudiantes y yo estamos amigos. That would really throw somebody off. We cannot say estamos amigos. Amigos, friends, is not a location. And it's not like a feeling, an emotion, a state of health, changeable. It's, oh no, it's an ID tag. That word amigos is an ID tag. So we need somos amigos. Okay. So in other words, I'm telling you, estamos and somos cannot just willy-nilly. You can't just plug them both in and either one's good enough. That doesn't work. Estamos en la clase de Zoom. It's still a location, albeit virtual, right? Estamos en la clase de Zoom. We're in a class. Location. Okay. Vale. So we're trying to show you when we use one another. And I'm never sure if Ed Sheeran is English or Irish or, oh my God. So I just throw everything at it. Okay. Ed Sheeran es pelirrojo. He's a redhead. I'm identifying a physical characteristic. Unless he goes to a lot of trouble to buy a box of hair dye and go and sit for half an hour and work on his hair, that hair color, that is what he's born with. If you're born with it, it's ser. Okay. Ed Sheeran es pelirrojo. I could also say es inglés, he's English. And then somebody once said to me, I think he's really Irish. Es irlandés. Okay. I don't know really which nationality he is. So, you know, but if I talk nationality, yeah. Es inglés, he's English. Es irlandés. Es británico. Es británico. There's a nice general thing. Es británico. Okay. Origin, nationality does not change. Yeah, I mean, that's where you're from. Okay. Él está en un concierto. He's at a concert. Now it's a location. I got to use estar. Está en Los Ángeles. I could even say está cansado. He is tired. Maybe how he feels after singing all night. Okay. If I talk about these two folks down here, I cannot use es. I've got to use son because there are two of them, right? Beyonce y Jay-Z son estadounidenses. They are U.S. citizens. We would say they are Americans. Do not use the term Americans. People will not like you. They are wow, it sounds very snobbish to them because they say, we too are Americans. Well, aren't you special? Okay. So estadounidenses is U.S. person. If you have a hard time with estadounidenses, son norteamericanos. Norteamericanos is okay. Okay. Norteamericanos. So I'm talking about where they're from, what their country of origin is. But maybe they're recording and where they're located. Ellos están en Los Ángeles. Están en Los Ángeles, ¿sí? Location. Bien? Okay. Unos ejemplos más. Let's look at some other plural kind of differences of when to use ser, when to use estar. I look at these people, they're maybe, they're in an Olympic game party, they're celebrating. Ustedes son de Estados Unidos. You guys are from
United States.
the United States.
States.
Ustedes son de, you're from. De means of or from. Ustedes son de Estados Unidos. Okay. But unlike that national origin thing, here is something that talks about where these people are located. Ustedes están en una fiesta del Día de Independencia. Oh, you're at a 4th of July party, essentially. Yeah, where you're located. Okay. Now we're going to talk about these guys who are probably at un partido de fútbol. That's probably a soccer stadium. I could take a wild guess at that. Los hombres son de México. Origin, ser, son de México. I can't say están de México. With de, from, I cannot use estar. Son de México. Son de México. They're from Mexico. Están muy emocionados. They're very
Emotional.
I know. It looks like emotional, doesn't it? It means excited.
Excited.
Oh, excited.
It means excited. Están muy emocionados. Están muy emocionados. Bien. Okay. Vale, fantástico. What if I talk to somebody saying you? Okay. If I talk about her, I could mix up my ser and estar stuff, and I can mix it like this with a description. If I talk about her, and then we're going to talk to her at the bottom. The top talks about her. Ella es delgada. She's thin. Bonita y rubia. She's thin, pretty, and blonde. Ella está en la oficina. She's
Working.
in the office. Now I switch to está because location, right? Es inteligente porque es contadora. She is intelligent because she's an accountant. Contadora is somebody who counts out your money. Yeah, and accounts for your money. Es contadora. Her profession, ser. Okay. But if I walk up to her and I ask, hey, do you do this for a living? It would be, ¿eres contadora? Are you an accountant? Because I'm asking about her profession. And maybe you have a receipt to bring to her to, plug in to some kind of form. ¿Estás ocupada? Are you busy? Busy is a temporary influx state. Yeah. Sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're not. Busy doesn't always define who you are. Okay. So that indicates how you may mix these up. Bien.
Yeah.
I want to go back to this for a minute. When you want to say excited, make sure you use emocionados. Here's a teeny tiny footnote. There is a word excitados, but it means sexually aroused. You don't want to use that word. Excitados sounds like excited, but it means like a certain part of your body is excited. And you really don't want to publish that to people. So don't use excitados. It's like emocionados. That's excited, pepped up,
Emocionados.
revved up. Emocionados. Yeah. It doesn't like mean emotional, all mushy, and you're going to go to, yeah, no. Okay. Let's take a quick look at tener. Tener will go into forms like ser went into forms, like estar went into forms. Okay. And so here are the forms of tener. Think of that word we have in English, tenacious. You hang on to something because you're tenacious. If we have something, it's tener. Okay. Tener, like estar, like ser, is very irregular. So you just have to know that this G comes out of nowhere. The yo form for tener, to say I have, is tengo. Tengo audífonos. Tengo audífonos. Tengo una cámara. Tengo una luz. Tengo una luz. I have a light. See? See? Tengo una pluma. Tengo una pluma. Tengo un celular. Tengo mi celular. Tengo un reloj. All the things I have. Tengo. Not tango. That's a dance. Tengo. See? Tengo. Bien. But the tu form is tienes. Tienes with an S at the end, because that verb with an S at the end tells you it's tú, talking to you. You have, tienes. But if one person has, we ditch the S on tienes. We ditch it. We get rid of the S and it becomes a one person form. Él tiene, he has. Ella tiene, she has. Usted tiene, you, polite you, have. Okay. The we form will get a mos at the end, and it will keep the ten of tener. Tenemos. Bien. The vosotros form is tenéis, but you don't really need to know that because Latin America doesn't like it, so you don't need it. Okay. And now we've got a plural form, a form for they or a form for you guys. And it is, they all share the same form of that verb tener. Ellos tienen, they have, that can be a mixed group of guys and gals or all guys. Ellas tienen, that has to be an all female group. Ellas tienen, or ustedes tienen, you guys have. Okay, bien. When you talk about your house in a little bit, you may express it as tengo una casa, I have a house. Tengo un apartamento, I have an apartment. Or you might talk about mi casa tiene, my house has. Because where would house fit in this scheme of this grid? House is this many things. And even though your house isn't a person, it's one thing. So if your house has 16 rooms, right? It's mi casa tiene. Mi casa tiene, or la casa tiene. Mi apartamento tiene, my apartment has. Okay. So that's how we might use have when we talk about our house. Okay, so we're going to leave that for now. Okay. Bien?
Bien.
Yeah.
Vale.
Sí,
Okay,
gracias.
let's take a look at la casa, the house, and hopefully you had a chance to watch this video. They both and by the way, some people seem to spell garage G-A-R-A-J-E or A-G-E. I have seen it spelled both ways. It would be pronounced the same either way. So I would say don't stress over it. No importa, doesn't matter a whole lot. Hopefully you also had a chance to check out this video, which gave you some slightly different vocabulary in some ways. Okay, that just gives you more vocabulary to talk about. Let's go actually into some pictures to practice la casa. And we're going to do some practice with la casa before you talk about your house, so you get warmed up. Okay.
Okay.
Ejercicio de calentar. La casa y los cuartos. Cuartos is often used as just a general word for any old room, not specifying it for any certain use. Okay. Los cuartos. Unos ejemplos. Aquí. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Depending on the country you're in or the region of a country you're in, they may prefer one room for bedroom over another. El dormitorio, they might use el cuarto, which again can be used for bedroom as well as any old room in general, or la habitación. Yo prefiero la habitación. I use la habitación. It is just what I use. But you can use el dormitorio for bedroom. You can use el cuarto for bedroom. Alcoba, I think, is more regional to some parts of Spain. I don't hear alcoba very much, to be honest with you. But I do hear these three a lot. Okay, and there's even yet a fourth form, which sometimes you hear in Chile, but that's a little bit, yeah. Okay, ¿cómo se llama el cuarto? What do we call this room? ¿Cómo se llama? What do we call it?
La sala.
La sala. Es la sala. Es la sala. I'm going to show you how we can talk about la sala. La sala tiene un sofá grande. La sala tiene dos ventanas. It has two
windows.
La sala tiene dos lámparas.
Lamps.
Lamp.
La sala está en el primer piso de la casa. Location. La sala está en el primer piso. It's on the first floor. Okay. Some places you will hear the term planta baja used for first floor. Some places you will hear the term primer piso. Piso is a floor. Piso, piso, piso. If you go to Spain, piso is an apartment, mainly because apartments are stacked on top of each other. Yeah, the rooms are okay. But in Mexico, they will not call an apartment a piso. They'll call it un apartamento or departamento. But primer piso, first floor, we'll use that for right now. Está en el primer piso. Okay. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama?
Baño.
¿Qué es?
La camera. Very camera.
Habitación.
Es un cuarto, es una habitación. We can call it many things. Es el dormitorio. Es el dormitorio. Es la habitación. I'm going to describe it. Es muy grande.
You got it.
Es muy moderna. tiene una cama. It has a
Bed.
bed. Sí,
Bed.
claro. I could also just use hay una cama. Hay una cama. There is a bed, or tiene una cama. It has a bed. Okay. Hay dos mesitas. There are two little tables. A side table is a mesita. Ita at the end of mesa makes it into something smaller. Mesa is a table, but a big table where you would like spread out your work stuff or where you eat, right? Una mesa. But when we put ita on the end of mesa, it becomes mesita, like a side table. Okay. Hay dos mesitas. Hay dos lámparas. Hay dos lámparas. Está en el segundo piso. En el segundo. Está en el segundo piso. It's on the
Second
second
floor.
floor.
Second floor.
Bien, fantástico. ¿Cómo se llama el cuarto? What do we call this room?
China.
Cocina.
Comedor.
Cocina.
Cocina.
Cocina, cocina.
Cocina.
En italiano, cocina, 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 cucina, cucina italiana. But en español, cocina, cocina, la cocina,
La cocina.
la cocina. Let's talk about la cocina. And this will be more detailed than what you're going to say, but that's okay. I want you to see how we're combining all these verbs potentially to talk about rooms in a house. Es una cocina. La cocina es blanca y negra. I'm talking about color themes. La
Black and
cocina
white.
es blanca. And notice when I say the kitchen is black and white, because kitchen is a feminine thing, black and white have to become feminine descriptions. Ooh, be aware of that. La cocina es moderna. Es moderna y tiene. It
Has.
has. Tiene
Has
una
a-
nevera grande. Una nevera grande.
Refrigerator.
It has a big
Refrigerator.
fridge.
Refrigerator.
Sadly, there are lots of different words used for refrigerator as well. You may hear nevera. You may hear refri, refri, R-E-F-R-I, refri, because it's short, like fridge is short. Okay. You may hear refrigerador. Okay. You may hear various words for refrigerator. Y tiene un horno moderno. It has a modern oven. Horno is an oven.
Or no.
Horno.
I had
Okay.
or no.
Perdón. We don't need that.
Pretty.
El cuarto. ¿Cómo se llama el cuarto?
Baño.
Baño.
Es un
El
baño.
Baño.
Es un baño. Es un baño. Vamos a describir. Let's describe this bad. Es el baño. I'm just telling what it is. I'm identifying it. Es el baño. El baño es blanco y grande. Because baño is masculine, that word blanco needs to be a masculine form. ¿Sí? El baño es blanco y grande. Tiene una ducha.
Shower.
Shower.
It has a shower.
Shower.
The word for shower is ducha. Ducha.
Can I ask a question?
Sí, sí, sí.
I can't see. I don't know where the hand raise is. So on the feminine, masculine adjectives,
Mhm.
it goes with the noun. Is that correct?
Sí, exacto. Sí, exacto. You're going to see that in the
Gracias.
next chapter, but you're actually seeing it now. Yeah, it's happening. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Oh, so now your question may be, shoot, what if I said something to somebody like, el baño es blanca, Well, they would know what you meant, even though it shouldn't be blanca, it should be blanco. They would know what you meant. It would sound a little off.
Mhm.
So does
More
it go
important
with,
to get the word right.
okay, so does it go with the gender that it normally is unless it's changed? Is that kind
It
of
goes with the gender of the thing it is describing.
okay?
Okay. So, and you'll see that in a bunch of examples. You'll see it over and over again.
Awesome.
Oh, and now instead of tiene, it has, I'm just going to say there is,
There is.
because I can mix it up if I want to. There is. Hay también una bañera. There is also a tub.
Oh, vineyard.
Bañera, bathtub. El baño es el cuarto. El baño es el cuarto. El baño is the room, right? But la bañera is the thing you actually get in if you want to soak, do the bubble bath thing, right? Hay también, there's also, también just means also. Hay también una bañera. Oh, I'm going to talk about what's hanging up on the wall. Hay dos toallas.
Toyas.
Hay dos toallas
Oh, yes.
en el baño.
Yeah, yes.
If you have a problem of not having towels in your room and you need to
Yes.
tell the housekeeping folks, you would say, or go down to the front desk, no hay toallas.
No hay toallas.
Yeah.
Ah,
No hay, there aren't any.
I need
No
to
hay
towels.
toallas. That's how you would express that, right?
Yes.
And you would probably ask after that, necesito, I need,
dos,
necesito dos toallas, por favor.
Por favor.
Bien,
Mhm.
okay,
Yes.
el baño. Now, I want to caution you about the word baño. Oh, this is a little bit like the issue with bedroom. People may, depending on the country, in a public space, may use the word baño or may not so much like that word baño. So you have to kind of be flexible. Hay que ser flexible. You got to be flexible.
Mhm.
In a restaurant, in a public room, it might be different. Baño sometimes has the connotation of it's got a tub.
Mm.
So be aware. You may, in a restaurant, ask, ¿Dónde está el baño? And they may think that's perfectly cool and okay. And say, that makes sense. And they'll just point where you want. ¿Dónde está el baño? Oh, because when you ask, where's the bathroom? Are you asking, you're asking about the location, aren't you? Got to use estar. ¿Dónde está el baño? Now, they may think nothing of it. In a restaurant, you're asking, ¿Dónde está el baño? And they'll point you off to the right, in the right direction. But some places, I can't really tell you exactly how to guess at this. You have to have a feel for it. Some places don't like to use the word baño unless it has a tub in a private home. Yeah. A public restroom may be called los servicios. I personally, yeah, that is underlined because that is what that's my default phrase. In case I come across somebody who doesn't like to use the word baño for a public restroom. Okay. ¿Dónde están los servicios? Where are the services? Everybody would know what you meant by los servicios, right? In Spain only, I think only in Spain do you hear this word, aseos. It means the neat rooms. Yeah. So I would default to servicios if I were you, right? You can do the kind of thing we do in English, men's room, women's room. Oh, that says restroom, yeah. ¿Dónde está el cuarto de hombres? ¿Dónde está el cuarto de damas? You may see signs saying damas and hombres.
Mhm.
Or even
Mhm.
instead of hombres, caballeros. Caballeros is gentlemen.
Ah,
So whereas damas means ladies, it's a nicer term than mujeres. Caballeros is a more formal, but it's quite formal. Caballeros, quite formal. So they may just call it cuarto de hombres, cuarto de caballeros, cuarto de damas. You get the idea, yeah?
mhm.
Restroom.
Marilyn, is there in a bunch of languages, they ask like, where are the toilets? Is there something like that in Spanish?
Yeah, yeah. They'll never call it a toilet.
Mhm.
Toilet as that wonderful throne that we sit upon. Inodoro, retrete. There are words for toilet, but I would never ask for the toilet. Yeah, you can go any place in the UK and ask, where's the toilet, right? Here in the States, you say, where's the toilet? And they're kind of like, okay, yeah, they know what you mean.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
where's the
but-
toilet, right? It's got that connotation. But, UK, nobody thinks twice. Oh, yeah, the toilet. Yeah. WC, right? All that kind of stuff. But just be aware, you may run into different terms for restroom. So yeah, it may morph. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's do some talking about actual rooms. Sí. En mi casa tengo tengo muchos cuartos. Mi casa tiene una sala, un comedor, 4 habitaciones. Mi casa tiene 4 habitaciones. Mi casa tiene una oficina. Mi casa tiene 1, 2, 3, 4. Mi casa tiene 4 baños. Hay 4 baños en mi casa. Tengo 4 baños en mi casa. Y hay un garaje. Hay un garaje para 2 carros. Bien? Okay. Who wants to be brave and talk about their house? What your house has?
I will.
Oh, I will. I
Bien.
will.
Okay.
Who's going to talk?
Trish, you want to start? See?
Sure.
Ah,
Sí,
magnífico.
gracias,
Okay.
señora. Tengo una casa bonita. Es uno piso.
Está en un piso. It's on, it's
Sí.
on one floor. Está en un piso. Okay, continúa. Keep going.
Fui construido en 1908.
Oh, 1900.
Sí,
78?
78.
78. Okay. When it was built. Ay,
Yeah.
bien.
Oh, okay,
Lucky.
good.
La casa tiene 4 dormitorios y 2 baños.
Okay.
Bien.
Dos.
Mm,
Mi comedor es pequeño.
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 Pequeño. Pequeño. No tiene ventanas.
No tiene ventanas. It has no windows.
Sí,
Ah,
Mi comedor no tiene ventanas.
sí.
mm,
Nosotros hemos estado aquí 28 años.
Sí. Here would be a little more natural way to say that.
Okay.
Llevamos, which literally is we carry up. Llevamos 20, 24, 28 años aquí.
Okay. Sí.
Llevamos, and now your number. 28, 24 años aquí. Bien.
Sí.
Excelente.
Gracias.
¿Más? Any more? No?
Diego, el gato. El gato,
Diego. Tienes un gato.
gato. También vive aquí.
También vive allá. Ok. Bien. Excelente. Muy bien. Okay. ¿Alguien más? Somebody else want to share about their house? ¿Quién? Who? ¿Quién? Alguien. Somebody share about their house.
I will.
I will.
Okay, good.
Uh,
No, go ahead.
Loretta, let's take you next.
Okay. La casa tiene un patio.
Tiene. Make sure you pronounce your e at the end of tiene. Tiene, un patio. Bien.
Tiene. Okay. Mi cocina.
Cocina.
Tiene cocina. Tiene un horno.
Bien.
Hay un televisor. Mi sala tiene un sofá blanco.
Okay.
That's it.
Bien, bien. Gracias. Bueno, Karen, ¿tienes algo?
Okay.
Karen, ¿tienes algo? Karen, do
Okay,
you have
me.
something for us? Or no?
Me.
Maida. Bien.
Sí. Mi tiene una casa con tres dormitorios,
Bien.
2 dormitorios principal y 4 baños y 3 baños principal y una baños de visitas.
Okay.
Y las salas tienen 2 sofás grandes y tienes plus. I don't know how to say the fireplace.
Oh, chimenea.
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 Sí.
Bien. So
Sí.
if you're going to use principal, which is a great word to use, by the way, because it's like saying a main, main thing.
Yeah.
If you say dormitorios principales, you need to make that principales plural. Now,
Principales.
we didn't really have a lesson on that yet, so I don't expect you to know that yet.
Okay.
Principales. Okay.
Sí.
Bien.
Also, mi 4 tiene una cama y hay 2 mesitas.
Y 2 mesitas. Bien.
Sí.
Bien. Excelente. Excelente. Muy bien. ¿Qué más? Who else? Who else wants to volunteer? Tell us about Tomás.
Sí. Mi casa tiene 4 habitaciones, cocina, 2 chimeneas. No, ¿cómo se dice? Chimenea.
Chimeneas, fireplaces, sí.
Y garaje por 3 carros y 2 pisos.
Y 2 pisos.
2 pisos, sí, es 3 baños.
Sí.
Es grande.
Sí. La oficina de mi esposo. La oficina de mi esposo, donde él trabaja con computadores, ¿sí?
Sí.
Está en el 2º piso de mi
La
casa.
oficina es en el piso 1.
Ok. Hay un piso, sí. Bien.
Yeah.
Ok. Fantástico. Who else wants to volunteer with some information about your house? ¿Quién más? Jenny.
Sí. So, mi casa tienen muy grande el garaje con 6 carros. Mi esposa, what do you say really likes?
Sí. Mi esposo. Mi esposo. Le gusta mucho. Le
gusta mucho carros.
mucho. Sí.
Sí. Also, tiene 4 bedrooms. What's the bedrooms? Baños. Oh no. No. 2 baños y 4 bedrooms. I don't know.
Oh, you got a whole bunch of words you can use for bedrooms.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah, too many. I know. Yes, say, see.
See. Oh, well.
Uh, try habitaciones.
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 So, cuatro habitaciones, tres, un poquito, a little bit, o uno grande.
Una grande y
Una
una
grande.
pequeña, pequeña, small. Okay, bien, bien. ¿Quién más? Who else has got one they want to share?
I'll share one.
Sí. Okay. Let's take Mark first, and then I'm going to take Shelley. See, bien.
Sí.
Put habitaciones.
And Mark, you'll have to take yourself off of mute.
Yeah.
There we go.
Mi casa es en un piso.
Está en un piso.
Está en un piso.
Bien.
Tiene 4 habitaciones y 3 baños. Y un garaje para 3 carros.
3. Muy grande.
Hay una piscina muy bonita.
Una piscina, una piscina. Una piscina es divina. Sí, bien. Ok, muy bien. Shelley, ¿tienes algo?
Okay. Mi casa tiene 2 dormitorios, una oficina y 2 baños. También tiene una bonita cocina abierta, comedor y sala de estar.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Sala de estar is sometimes used to say living room. Yeah. But just sala is okay as well.
Okay.
Bien. Okay. Fantástico. ¿Quién más? Who else has something to share about a house? Okay, Karen.
Ok. Tengo una casa bonita. Mi casa tiene una cocina, una la sala, un comedor, 2 baños, 4 habitaciones y un lavadero.
Okay.
El patio
Sí.
es grande y hay una piscina. Mi casa también tiene un garaje.
Excelente. Okay. Fantástico. Fantástico. ¿Quién más? Who else has something to share? Anybody else? Don't want to leave anybody out if you got something you want to share.
I'll try.
Okay. Magnífico.
Mi casa es grande, pero no es elegante. Mi casa tiene 2 salas, un comedor, una cocina, 3 habitaciones y 2 oficinas. Hay 3 baños y un garaje con 3 carros.
Okay. Con 3 carros. Oh, es el sueño de mi esposo. That is my husband's dream, to be able to have more than 2 cars in the garage. Eso es el sueño de los esposos. That is the husband's dream. Un garaje con espacio para 3 carros. Ay. Okay. A ver. Muy bien, muy bien. We're going to talk a little bit. Alguien más, anybody else? Sí, Jenny, tienes una pregunta. You have a question? I saw hands up. And Jenny, you're on mute. If you want to ask me something.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
¿Cómo se dice for swimming pool?
Swimming pool,
Piscina.
piscina. I will type it in the
Piscina.
chat box for you. Piscina. It's kind of like the Pisces word. Piscina. La piscina. La piscina.
La piscina.
La piscina.
Oh, yeah.
Alberga is sometimes used in Spain instead of piscina, but other places use piscina.
Okay.
So again, yeah, I know we get that kind of troublesome thing of some words sometimes get more than one label. Okay. A ver, we're going to take a look at something you're going to work on for next week. Okay.
Okay.
And we're going to work
Yeah.
on for next week. And I'm going to give you some audio to, I'm sorry, some video to look at as well. You started to see this with La Casa a little bit, but you're going to start to see it a lot more in chapter 5, capítulo número 5, chapter 5. It's going to say describing things. And of course, we can describe, wow, we use adjectives. Special words are adjectives. Adjectives are describing words. They may be, adjectives may be colors. They may talk about size. They may talk about the usefulness of something, right? It can be, adjectives can be anything from red, green, blue, yellow to tall, short, big, little, expensive, inexpensive, elegant, dumpy, pretty, ugly. Adjectives are all over the place to describe any range of features, okay? But you are going to specifically get a video that is going to segregate or teach you what adjectives are about using colors. Oh, they're going to use colors as a vehicle to teach you about what happens with adjectives. And what happens with adjectives in a nutshell is that the noun is kind of the king of that little part of the phrase. And the thing you're talking about, all of the describing words that talk about that thing, all of the adjectives will have to be in a form that talks about that noun. That means if the noun is masculine, the adjective will have to be masculine. If the noun is feminine, the adjective will have to be feminine. If the noun is singular, it has to be masculine, singular, or masculine and plural, right? Feminine and singular, feminine and plural. So, okay, that's going to sound like a lot of stuff, but it won't always be difficult. They're going to show you colors because colors will show us ways of using adjectives when we do need masculine, feminine, and when we don't have to bother with it. Okay. So what I want you to focus on when you watch the video, and the video is going to use this same kind of chart. They're going to start to segregate it according to adjectives that end in O, which do one thing. So all the colors that end in O, well, you'll start to notice they get put in a separate category visually. This is to help you visually separate these words. Adjectives that end in O will need to go into full, flat out masculine or feminine, singular or plural forms, according to the thing, the noun they're talking about. Adjectives that don't end in O. Oh, same for masculine and feminine. Yeah. Most of the time. Oh, I know. Once in a while, I'll tell you when. Once in a while, it breaks those rules, but most of the time, most adjectives that don't end in O, we use the same form for masculine, feminine. I only worry about making it plural. Yay. So that's that's the short down and dirty. So when they break these out, they're going to talk about, and they'll fade them in and out of the screen. Anaranjado and amarillo and rojo and rosado and morado and negro and blanco will be put in a separate category because they're going to show you the masculine, the feminine, the masculine plural, the feminine plural. Okay. But adjectives that don't end in O, like azul, like verde, like marrón, like gris, those I can use the same one for masculine or feminine. Don't have to do anything. Okay. And the reason they show this by using colors as a means to teach it is that any describing words, or the vast majority of describing words, adjectives, will follow the same kind of pattern as if it were a color. Yeah. So if I want to talk about something being very elegant, it will be elegante. And elegante does not end in o. Elegante. Oh, so I can use elegante for
Anyway.
feminine or masculine.
Mhm.
Okay. But if I talk about alto, alto, tall, alto ends in o. So that will have to go into feminine form or plural form, depending on the noun, the thing it is talking about. See? Okay. So they will show you visually how that works. And what we want that video that pairs up with this page to do is to sort of like get your brain to thinking in a certain way, wiring your brain to think in a certain way. Okay. I would like you, and I will send you the link to this chart. This chart is going to have a series of little fill in the blanks underneath. And I will, oh, why am I not? Why is it not showing me? For some reason, it does not want to move up and down. Let's try this one. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to ask you to see if you can fill in the blanks at the bottom of the color chart, but only after you watch the little mini movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And only after you read what you read in here in your chapter 5. Okay. And I want you to think when you look at the fill in the blank at the bottom, I give you some vocabulary for words you don't know. When you fill in the blank, I want you to think about, what is the thing I'm talking about? Is it bandera, flag, I'm talking about? Is it tomates, tomatoes, what I'm talking about? And whether that is masculine or feminine, singular or plural, you may need to plug in a specific form of a word, okay? As a describing term. That makes sense? See?
Yes.
And then when we get into class, we'll do a whole bunch of picture descriptions. Okay. They're going to give you limited adjective vocabulary that is most helpful to travelers when you're talking about price. They're going to give you words like tall and short, expensive and inexpensive. Okay. Vocabulary that you're likely to need, small, big and small. Okay. Really, really common adjectives. Make sense? See? Okay. Magnifico. Adjectives is a big, big topic. If I can find an appropriate short story video, I may include that as well, but I have to keep it really, really super focused, not to give you like all kinds of words you don't know. So, okay. Bien?
Bien.
Todo bien.
Excelente. Okay. Eso es todo. That is it for today.